I remember wanting to be a mum from a fairly young age. The thought of carrying a child and the thought of giving birth, like it was just exactly what I wanted. I knew that's what I wanted in my life. So I was 24 when we decided to start having children. And when you've got this full-term baby in your belly, when you hear that prognosis of a life expectancy of 2 was terrifying. Aaron and I actually met when I was about 6. Our families were friends and we started dating when I was 17 and married when I was 21. I was so excited to start a family. So a couple of years later, when we decided to start trying, I was just so excited. The miscarriages that we had were some of the darkest memories that we had. They were very early miscarriages, so it was very difficult to experience those. Getting pregnant with Ruby was beyond terrifying, and at this point, I was convinced. This is it, I'm gonna go in, there's gonna be no heartbeat. So I went in for my appointment and there's beautiful heartbeat, super healthy. And I think that's when I started to think, oh my gosh, I think this one's hanging on. I was 36 weeks. They scanned Ruby and they started her feet and worked their way up. The sonographer just stops and stands in front of us and says, we're very concerned. And what they had seen was what they termed an event. From what they saw on that day, the damage was so significant, it's not going to be compatible with a full life. My hearing went, it was an out-of-body experience. I just thought, my baby's going to die. I thought my first 2 did, and now at the finish line, my 3rd is going to die. We were terrified. We were so scared. I think it would have been about 4:30 in the morning the next morning, my waters broke, naturally. And I, to this day, think it was Ruby saying, I'm fine, can I just come out and tell you guys? And hearing her cry was, it was next level. And I just remember Aaron saying, she's beautiful. That's all he said. She was in the special care for 3 weeks to have this fluid removed from her brain. And I'll never forget the last fluid removal that she had. They brought her out and her fontanelle was sunk. And I thought, the clot's cleared. So we did an MRI the next week and the clot had cleared. The brain fluid was draining as it should. It was home and time for a lot more appointments.
Ultrasound technology allows us to detect major problems with the growth of the baby, as well as major structural problems in organs such as the brain and heart. We typically pick up these sort of problems at the morphology scan at about 20 weeks. With improving ultrasound technology, we're now able to pick up some of these structural problems at a much earlier stage at the 13-week mark. And an example of Kate, at 37 weeks, we were able to detect a major intracerebral bleed in the baby's brain, which had occurred late in pregnancy. Making a diagnosis of a catastrophic intracerebral hemorrhage allowed us to change where Ruby delivered. It allowed us to change how she delivered, where it was safer to deliver by cesarean section. And having the medical team available at the time of delivery allowed us to optimise the outcomes for Ruby at delivery. The ultrasound technology has improved significantly over the past 10 to 15 years. It is allowing us to image the structures much more clearly, and so we're now able to pick up major structural problems at a much earlier stage and be much more confident about a diagnosis. The future in ultrasound technology lies in the further improvement in the quality of the ultrasound imaging. Developments such as artificial intelligence will help the general quality of screening, which will improve detection rates for major problems. The goal is always to try and improve the outcome for the babies if possible, and also for the families involved.
I genuinely believe that the ultrasound saved Ruby's life. So she was diagnosed with cerebral palsy. Cerebral palsy is an umbrella term for there's damage in the brain affecting movement. And it's in the right side of her brain, so it affects the left side of her body. The most important thing about early intervention is we have literally rewired Ruby's brain. So yes, Ruby's brain damage is quite significant, but thanks to all of her therapy and everything that she's, works so hard at daily, it's why she's able to do what she can do. Ruby goes to Centre of Movement once a week. The idea of all of this sort of therapy is repetition. Like, it needs to be constant. It gets her body into the right positions to do all of the things that it needs to do. She's always pushed on. It's never stopped her. She's a real firecracker. She's very entertaining. Life expectancy of 2 to monkey bars at 9, she's incredible.